know something's going to end, and I talk about this in the book, like you actually, it gives a sense of urgency, and you actually do shit and do things and take action and plan and have an experience, right? Like but when you stick your head in the ground, like, oh, I'm never going to graduate college, I'm just going to loaf around, and I'm never going into the job market, then you don't plan, you don't do these things, and then you just have that much less of a fulfilling life. Right?
How do you balance between, urgency for many people is like anxiety, some people might get anxious if you tell them like, oh my gosh, you have that many hours to live, and they'll get anxious, but
I think
that urgency to live, that's a little bit,
whenever I feel overwhelmed, I start like writing it down and time bucketing, and it's not, the clutter starts to go away, because you have this like, oh, I want to do that, and you have all these things, right? And they're not organized, and it's like walking into a room and it's just a mess, clothes are everywhere, blah blah blah. But when you start like writing them down, like, I don't need this, I throw this away, you organize it, whatever, I think the anxiety tends to go down. Right? Like, trying to do it all in your head is beyond the capabilities of our brain. So writing it down, and like you have a vision board, or putting it out, I think that reduces anxiety. But just I say the words, and you're like, 12,000 hours, what am I going to do? It's like, well, you're going to have a really, really, really full life if when you map it out. Like my problem, and I think other people have this problem, is like when I go into my time bucketing exercise, where I'm like, okay, the experiences I want to have from 50 to 55 or 56. The problem I have is thinking of things, right? And what do I really want? So I have to like get rid of the distractions and think about what I really want. And it's like, wow, that looks pretty empty. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, oh, well, let's go down a level. How many times, even mundane things, like how many times do you want to go to the gym? Or how many times do you want to go to whatever, and filling it up. And then I get ideas, and I know that, life is discovery. You don't know what you want, you discover what you want, right? And so I know the things that I want, I've discovered, right? And now I'm like, okay, I want to do those things. So I know some of those things will come along the time, and this is always a work in progress, that I'm going to constantly update it and take things off, add things on, etc. So just knowing that gives me a sense of calm, and I'll get there. But the real thing is that if you're just taking even 10% of these steps, you're going to have that much more fulfilling of a life.
How often do you do the journaling practice, the timeline? How do you practice this for your life, and how often do you update? And like, is it a daily practice, or do you like spend a day every month, or every 6 months?